Hi, everybody, and good morning. Happy Tuesday, September 28th. We are here for my human sexuality classes. I see a bunch of you joining me, getting your names in the chat. So thank you so much for being with me here on a beautiful, cold, cloudy Tuesday morning. It's so nice outside right now. I love it. It's cool. I know it's going to get warmer in the next few days, but it feels so nice this morning. I love it. And next week is October. This is my favorite time of the year for sure. Very, very excited for this weather, even if it will get back up into the 90s later in the week. But I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, we're getting closer to Halloween. Awesome autumn weather. It's getting closer. Anyway, I do love it. I love it for sure. So thank you again so much for being with me here with me live. I hope all of you are doing well and hanging in there. Forgive me if I have a cracking and weak voice today. I did a lot of screaming on Sunday when I was at the Rams Bucks game. The Bucks lost, and I can't say they played particularly well either. But it was so much fun to be there. That stadium, SoFi Stadium, is beautiful, and the screens. It was just such an amazingly beautiful stadium. The food, though, was awful. I read so many reviews about the food being bad, and I would completely agree. There weren't a lot of choices, and the food choices that were there weren't very good. I mean, that's so sad, right? You go to a stadium, you want some good food. Like, you expect it to be expensive, $17 for a can of beer. So I heard. Anyway, but otherwise it was really fun, as I said, to be there. The game wasn't the best, but I could see Brady. He was right there, and Gronkowski and all my favorite guys were there, and I really love Cooper Kupp, and he played well. I got booed at by lots of people. The guy behind me, the more he drank, the more he would hit me. Every time the Rams did something good, he would smack me. It was memorable. I kind of have a little bit of a bruise, but it was fun. So forgive me if I sound like I was screaming. Yeah, giving QB the ball last 37 seconds. Yeah, it was it wasn't the best game. They definitely needed to do some improving on their defense. I read a statistic yesterday that Tom Brady had the most rushing yards of any Bucks player. Now, if you like football at all, Brady cannot run. He and I have that in common, right? He cannot run at all. He had 14 yards, and that was more than all of his running backs. So they got to do a little bit of work if they're gonna make another run for the Super Bowl. But either way, I'll stop talking about the football now. But it was a lot of fun. And a couple of you emailed me saying, I hope you had a fun day today. And the Rams lost, or the Rams won, the Bucks lost. But either way, it was a good weekend. And next weekend I get to go to Legoland. So it's been 2 fun weekends in a row, and I will take it. Between the football and the brick or treat at Legoland, it definitely feels like the best time of the year. So all fun things. I hope some of you are doing fun things as well. That stadium was sold out. There were like thousands upon thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I haven't been around that many people in a long time. I felt like I was like this the whole time, but still, lots of fun. So anyway, I will focus back in here. I'll get back to our class. We have a few things to talk about today. I want to give you a little bit of feedback from last week on your discussion. We'll talk about week number 7. We're in week 7, hard to believe, and I want to go over. We have our first homework assignment this week as well, so I want to go over that a little bit. I'll, of course, give you the Twitch extra credit question, see if any of you have questions for me, and then that will be our time. So let's go ahead and go over to Canvas together. We'll take a look at some of that stuff. So, again, we're in week number 7. So let's go back to week 6 for just a second. Last week we were looking at the topic of orientation. And we had, for our discussion, you were reflecting on, do you think orientation is a choice, or do you think you're born that way? Really mixed opinions, right? People kind of all over the board with what they think and believe, which I think is reflective of the fact that we don't really know. As far as the discussion last week, for the most part, nicely done, right? A lot of you gave me your opinion, as I mentioned. For some of you, I said, I was really looking for you to link your opinion to some of the theories in the book. And this is one spot that some people lost points. I really wanted you to not just give me your opinion, but link it to what you read. And so a few of you, I gave you that feedback of forgetting to do that. I hope you enjoyed the songs, right? 3 very, very different songs, very different feels and videos. I know the Take Me to Church one is a little bit difficult to watch, and several of you said this in your comments, that it was very emotionally hard for you, a very intense video, and definitely, the most... maybe the most negative or hard to watch of the 3. So if you felt that way, you weren't alone. A lot of you commented on that. A lot of great reactions of talking about the different elements and thoughts coming up in these songs. A few of you, I wanted a little bit more linking to the content. So don't forget, when you're giving me your opinion and reacting, don't forget to always link it to the concepts and topics from the chapter or lecture, in order to really show off that you understand and can connect all those dots. But for the most part, nicely done. I hope you enjoyed, all of those songs. And again, if you ever have a great example, if there's a newer song that isn't on here, send it to me. I probably won't ever hear it, right? So send it to me. I would love to listen to it, and I will add it next semester if it will hold up. So please feel free at any point during the semester, if you see a great example in a TV show or a movie, or hear a great song that connects, send it to me. I would love it. I think that would be great. A lot of you are remembering to reply to your peers, which is great as well. Don't forget to do that. It is worth 2 points every week. So if you aren't doing that, make sure you pick that up. But for the most part, really nicely done. Most of you did a fantastic job thinking about orientation and where you think that comes from, and reflecting on those songs. So this week we are moving on to week number 7, and we have a few things going on this week. Our usual, where you have your chapter to cover, discussion, and the extra credit. But then we also have one new element, so I'm going to spend some time talking about that today. But for this week, we're looking at the topic of communication. And specifically, we're looking at gendered communication. So what are some of the stereotypes of masculine and feminine ways of communicating, the importance of communication in relationships? I think kind of a fun chapter. There are so many movies that highlight the stereotypical differences in the ways that men and women communicate. And I think I have some great clips in the lecture video for this week from I Love You Man, and He's Just Not, or what are the other ones I have? 40-Year-Old Version, and there's one more, and I'm blanking on it. The Ugly Truth, that's what it is. But there's an incredible amount of movies that feature this topic. So for this week, make sure you're reading chapter 3 in the textbook. And then, of course, watch the lecture video. The lecture video is a Zoom link right here. So I downloaded it into here. That seems to work a little bit better. So make sure that you watch that. It's about 36 minutes long. Several different clips in there to highlight the different topics that we're covering. It's a great chance for you to be taking notes, or you can always watch it again. Yeah, the Ugly Truth clip is hysterical. It's a little long, but it's such a great example of stereotypical ways to talk to men, right? Of things that men are interested in. And the one from 40-Year-Old Virgin is great as well, but just much, much briefer. So I'm glad that you found it entertaining. I think there's some really great clips, related to gendered communication. So read the chapter, watch the lecture video, and then for discussion number 7, you're obviously focusing on the topics from this week. So referencing the materials in chapter 3 on gender and communication, I want you to respond to the following quote. Men and women belong to different species, and communication between them is still a science in its infancy. Be sure to tie your thoughts into specific concepts or topics from the chapter to receive full credit. So I want your thoughts and opinions on that, and then also make sure you're tying it in and connecting it like you'll be doing almost every week. Then you're going to think about, how do men communicate stereotypically? In other words, what do men tend to focus on in their communication? How do you talk to men? How do women communicate stereotypically? In other words, what do women tend to focus on in their communication, and how do you talk to women? And you can even reflect a little bit if you have examples in your personal life of maybe how you communicate, or a partner or a friend, and how these things can sometimes cause problems. And I talked about that a little bit in the lecture for this week, that sometimes when we have these very different communication patterns, that it can lead to issues, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have had communication issues in friendships, or with family, or in relationships. They happen all the time, and people are very different in the styles and ways that they communicate. And I know my partner and I, so we're both women, but I tend to communicate much more stereotypically masculine, and her much more feminine. And we have those stereotypical fights all the time. Or I won't say fights as much. We don't fight too much after 18 years, but it's more like the miscommunications and the just tell me what you really mean, right? And so I think you have a great opportunity to think about that and reflect on that a little bit here as well. I don't know if any of you have this one, but for us, it's always the where do you want to eat discussion. And there's some great TikToks on this as well, right? I'll ask her, be like, where do you want to eat? And she'll be like, oh, anywhere is fine. And I know the second she says anywhere is fine, then I'm in for a long haul, right? I'll be like, okay, well, give me a couple of options and I'll pick from them. And she's like, well, how about you give me options and I'll pick from those? And I'll be like, how about pizza? Nah, that doesn't sound very good. Okay, how about Mexican food? No, not really in the mood for that. Okay. How about, and then I'll come up with something else. So how about TGIF? No, just tell me where you want to go, right? And we'll go there. I love that. Anywhere is fine. But I gave you 4 suggestions and none of them were good. So that's our, that is always our little battle of where do you want to go to eat, right? I love that and I hate it at the same time. So I'm sure I'm not alone on that. There's so many examples, right? Someone said, I've been married for 20 years. We still have these miscommunications on, especially where we want to go. Oh, always. We always have that. What do you want to do? Anything? Yeah, do you mean that? Just give me some real suggestions, right? There's so many of these things, and they're not always gendered, but they're very true and relevant. And so that's kind of our topic for the week, and reflecting on that a little bit. Your last question here, what are your attitudes about conflict in romantic relationships? Give one reason or example of how conflict could be positive, and then one reason or example of how conflict could be negative. So you're reflecting on these different things related to stereotypical male-female communication, gendered communication, and then the idea about conflict, which a lot of people tend to struggle with. So that's your discussion for this week. I hope you come up with some great examples. And again, you're welcome to use things in your life or things that are more in the media, stereotypical. It's up to you. The other thing that we have for this week, as I mentioned, is we do have our first homework assignment. Now, you only have 2 of these throughout the semester, but I think these are a lot of fun. My goal with these homework assignments is to push you out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And I know that that's a little more challenging right now because of COVID and some of the restrictions that are still in place. So please don't pick something that you don't feel safe doing, right? If you don't feel safe going out, then pick something that allows you to stay home. But if you do feel safe going out and going shopping or going out and exploring and doing some of these different activities, please pick them. And if you have one that you're like, oh, that sounds scary, I really hope you pick that one. And take a friend or somebody else along with you, a partner along with you for support. So what you'll be doing for these is you're going to pick from an assignment menu. So if you click on homework assignment number 1, there is a menu of options, right? So there's a bunch of different things that you can choose from, and you're only picking one, and then you'll pick one more for the other one that'll be due in a month or so. So click on this, and again, you're only picking one of these right now. And I've given you a lot of different choices, and I really hope that at least one of them screams out to you like that would be interesting or fun. So what you'll be doing with all of these is some kind of activity or some kind of work, and then you're writing a short paper about it. And these are worth 25 points, so it's more than a discussion. Please take some time on this. But all of them require, again, some kind of activity or excursion or creating something and then writing a paper. So really quickly, and you can read over this on your own, there are lots of choices. One of them, the first one, is birthday shopping, right? So if you want to explore the topic of gender a little bit, with this one, you will go on 3 separate shopping trips to any store that sells children's toys. I wrote Kmart in there. I should probably remove that. There used to be a Kmart right next to us not that long ago. Walmart, Target, any store at the mall. You could even, I was going to say you could try and do this online, but that might be a little bit trickier. But any store that sells children's toys. And you're not actually buying anything, but you're going to go in and say, oh, I'm shopping for a boy and a girl. They're twins. They're turning 6. And what do you suggest? You're going to ask somebody for suggestions. You're going to look at the toys and how they're laid out in the store. And you're going to write all about it. Right? Again, you're not actually buying anything, but what do people recommend that you purchase? What are you noticing in the ways that the toys are laid out in the store? Are they gendered or not? Right? And what do people suggest? This is a really interesting one. And the people that you ask, depending on their age and their gender, this could be all over the board. So this tends to be, I think, an interesting one to do. My sexuality, if you wanted to just reflect on your own sexuality, I have a little questionnaire. I'll show you where that is in a few minutes. You'll take the questionnaire, you'll reflect on your attitudes and thoughts around sexuality. You don't have to go out for this one, so that might be a good one if you're not feeling super safe going out into the world and going shopping. If you do want to go shopping, condoms, here's another option. And again, you don't actually need to buy condoms unless you need them, in which case it's a happy 2-for-1. But with this one, you are going on a shopping trip to buy condoms. And you're going to go to 2 different places. And I hope you pick 2 very different ones. So this could be like Target, Walmart, the grocery store, a gas station. It could be anywhere that would sell condoms. And you're going to look at where were they in the store, what do they have available, were you being recorded, how did you feel standing in front of the condoms, would you be comfortable purchasing them, why or why not, all of that kind of stuff. And you'll be reflecting on that. And again, you don't actually need to buy them unless you need some, in which case go for it. Another option, you can get tested. So one of the topics we'll cover later in the semester are STIs. You could go out and get tested. Here's a couple of different places where you can do that for free or for very little. You could also go to your general medical doctor. And then you'll write a paper about where you went, how it went. You don't have to share your results with me, but how you felt, what were your reactions to the whole process, what are you going to do with this information? Does this change anything for you? And so on. Picking a donor. If you wanted to pick a sperm donor, imagine for a moment that your sperm wasn't going to work and you had to find sperm to replace you, or maybe you needed sperm as an ingredient to help you out in getting pregnant. What are the things that would be important to you? How would you feel about this process? What are some of the features that you would look for? I have a website that you'll go to help think about that. You could also be a donor. I've had a couple of people go and donate sperm and be on the other side of this, and that would be totally fine. As a side note, I am very flexible on this assignment. So if you come up with another idea that sounds fun to you and interesting, run it by me. You have to run it by me. But if it fits into the framework of all of this, I am more than willing to accept it. I had some students, this was before COVID, that wanted to go to a strip club and write about stereotypes of strip clubs and expectations and what that was like. And I totally was fine with that. I think that's fantastic. So if you have another idea, feel free to run it by me. Last year I had a student who wanted to be a donor instead of picking one, and that was fine with me as well. One of my favorites, and if this makes you uncomfortable, I really hope you do it, a sex shop field trip. where you will go to 2 different sex stores or adult stores. I require that one of them is one of these 2. So the Pleasure Chest or the Hustler store. Obviously double check their hours and COVID restrictions. And then one of them can be anything that you want. It can be a smaller store. But you're going to go to the store, you're going to describe them, stereotypes that you have versus reality. You have to ask a question of somebody that works there, pick a product that you know nothing about and ask them about it. And then you'll describe, all of that information in your paper. I think this is a great one. Take a friend, take a partner, make it fun. But I think this is a really fun one to do and challenging your stereotypes a little bit as well. Sex and advertising, if you want to look at examples depicting how sex is used in the media to sell or market a product or service. You'll give me examples of different ads. These could be YouTube videos that you find, or they could be images that you put together in like a compilation, and then you'll write a paper about it. You could look at different movies. So for this one, you're not actually showing these, but you would find 2 different movies that highlight topics we're covering. And then you're going to describe them. You're going to select 2 specific scenes that highlight a topic that we are covering in our class. You could also do an art project. So if you wanted to create something, if you're a very creative person, this is your chance. You can make a sculpture or a painting, a collage, a multimedia presentation of some kind, and then you'll write a paper about it and share the artistic piece with me. You could also do a book report. If there's a book that you wanted to read, I shared some great gender communication books this week in the lecture. If you wanted to read one of those or any book related to sexuality, and then do a book report and talk about that and link it to things that we've covered. Or again, if you have another idea, I am very, very open to it. And I hope that you check with me. That would be fine. If there's a specific topic you want to research, or interview somebody, or go to somewhere different that's related. All of those things would be completely fair game as long as you check with me. So again, the essence of all of these is that you are doing some kind of activity or excursion and then writing a paper about it. And so there are instructions for every single one of them in this menu. So make sure you read through them, just pick one, and then you will do one more later in the semester. Now, when you're ready to turn that in, you will turn it in right here through the link. So you'll hit Start Assignment up in the corner, and then you can upload your file right here. It is a little limited on file type, so just doc, docx, PDF, and RTF. But you will be uploading it right here for me. And again, all of this was under week number 7. So if you're under week number 7, here's where you can find the homework assignment instructions. This is where you will turn that in. Here's the questionnaire if you wanted to do the My Sexuality option. I put that there separate for you if you wanted to do it. But again, if you have other ideas, email me, run them by me. I hope you pick something fun and different and something slightly out of your comfort zone. I think that would be absolutely amazing. But are there any questions? Any questions or comments or thoughts at all about the homework assignment? Anything that you're confused about or want more information on? Obviously, if it's a very individual, like you want to run an idea by me, you can go ahead and email me. But any general questions or anything about the homework assignment? I'll wait just a minute just to make sure. And while I'm waiting to see if there are any questions about anything for this week, just a few reminders for you. So let me put this in here. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Tuesday in October. Tuesday 10, is it 10/5? Let's double check here. I think it's the 5th. Tuesday 10/5, right? So next week is October. So hard to believe. Tuesday 10/5 at 9:30 in the morning. So I will hope to see you all for that nice and early Tuesday at 9:30. I'm trying to put that in. 9:30 in the morning. And then I also want to remind you, and a few of you had asked me if I could show you this, and I wasn't able to show you because I was subscribed to somebody for free. But I'm going to continue to put this in the chat. Don't forget to check your subscription status. As I said, a ton of you fell off in the last 2 weeks. And so I'm having to look a lot of you up manually, which takes a long time. So if you could just double check this, I would really appreciate it. But don't forget that it's only good for 30 days when you subscribe for free. So let me show you really quickly. If you go to Twitch and you go to my channel, now I can't show you on my channel, so I'm going to show you on a friend of mine on Sticker G here. But if you were on my channel, and you'll notice that there is this purple bar right here where you can resubscribe and subscribe and all of that stuff. I haven't given it yet. I will in just a minute. Cowbells, the extra credit. So if you click on this down arrow, all the way at the bottom here, look how it says use Prime sub. So if you've already linked your accounts, you've done all the hard work, now all you have to do is click this little box, click use Prime sub, and then click right here where it says subscribe for free with Prime for 1 month. And that's good for 30 days. So several of you asked me about that, so I just wanted to show you now that mine was able to be renewed. All you do is you click that little use your Prime sub box, and then you can subscribe for free for another 30 days. So I think those are the big things for this week. Obviously, I'll give you the extra credit question here in a second. But any other questions, thoughts, comments, anything? Let me copy the question here into the chat. Okay. So your extra credit question for this week, something I covered in the lecture video, so make sure you watch that. According to Gottman, a very famous couples counseling researcher, according to Gottman, what are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of communication patterns in relationships? So what are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of the communication patterns that he noted in relationship? Those 4 negative patterns that he talked about as kind of bringing on the end of times for a relationship. And all you need to do is list them. When you're ready to do that, you'll head over to Canvas. Click on Twitch Extra Credit number 7 right here. And then up at the top, click on Start Assignment. It should be in there now, Cowbells. You said it wasn't there, but it's there now. And then you can type your response right here and hit Submit Assignment. So as soon as you do that, you'll get the confetti. You have a little wait till Sunday night to do that, of course. But if you answer early in the week and get it wrong, I will let you know and you can fix it. But don't forget to do this. It's worth 2 points. You can do it every single week. So again, the question was, according to John Gottman, what are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of those negative communication patterns in relationships? So big things for you. Just checked what, I'm sorry, I thought you said the extra credit question. What is it that you checked and isn't there, Cowbells? Sorry, I'm not sure what you are. I thought you were talking about the extra credit question, but it's right here in the chat. I can post that again for you here too. I'll put it one more time in the chat just in case it didn't show up. But for this week, don't forget to read chapter 3 in the book. Watch the video that I created for you. Enjoy all the fun clips in there. Do the discussion number 7, and then that homework assignment. So don't forget that this week we have that first homework assignment that is due, 25 points. So just make sure that you are doing that and getting those points. Spend some good time on it. And again, if you have another idea, feel free to email me. But those are all the things for this week. And then I will post the recording of our live stream as soon as we're done today. I will let that start downloading. It takes a little bit, but it'll be up later today. Okay, so you said that the resub with Prime is not there. So it might be that you're still subscribed, and that's why it's not there. You can always double check. You could email me later too with a picture if you want, and I can try and help you out. But yeah, it usually is there. It should be pretty easy to do, but you never know. Sometimes things don't seem to show up. You could try it on a computer or on a tablet. It might be different than on your phone as well. I think that is everything that I wanted to share with you. Heavy workload this week? Not too bad, right? At least we don't have an exam this week. Just one extra thing with the homework assignment, but that should be something that hopefully is a little bit fun for you to do. I think the exam weeks are much harder for sure, but only 2 of these throughout the semester, and I think that they're kind of a fun opportunity to apply and use the materials. So if you have any questions, I will hang out for a little bit, and you're welcome to ask me. I'm here. If you want to run an idea by me, this will be a good time too. Or of course you can email me later in the week if you think of something. My cat's right here, so close I can almost reach him. I can almost reach Rolly. He's so big I don't think I could one-handed bring him over. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. I hope you have a chance to do something, fun or relaxing. Oh, now he's coming over. Look now we have a cat. I'm like, I haven't been bombed by a cat in a while, right? You could say hello. He had a bath yesterday, so he's very mad at me. But definitely my favorite little guy right here. But I say little liberally. He's not a small cat. But I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And of course, email me if you have any questions. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little bit if you do have any other questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Tuesday morning for our next stream. You too, of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, that would work if you wanted to do that. You said you know someone who was a surrogate. Yeah, so what you could do is you could interview them and ask them, what the process was, and you could write a little bit about the process, like in terms of like the information for that, and then you could get their perspective and all of that information. That would be something that you could do for sure. If that interests you, I'm completely fine with that, and I think it could be a nice tie-in to the chapter when we start talking about how to get pregnant and some of the options that people explore too. So yeah, that's definitely fine. If you want to go ahead and run with that, I think that would be great. Of course. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful week. If you think of any questions or thoughts about the assignment, feel free to email me. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week on Tuesday.